Hey everyone, it is Robbie here with Muddybeards 4x4, and today I'm going to be tackling a project that I've been meaning to do for a very long time. And I've been reminded of it here recently because I've been taking my Jeep on a little bit more challenging obstacles. I've been hitting the rocks, going on some little bit harder trails, and my Jeep's really starting to develop some battle wounds and some battle scars because of that. Now, a lot of the stuff underneath is no big deal because it's designed and it's built to withstand that, like my lower control arms, which have clearly been sliding across rocks. But it really got me thinking about the more vulnerable components underneath my Jeep, especially the transfer case. Now, I don't have a T-case skid plate, and so in this video today, I'm going to be designing and building my own custom transfer case skid plate for the trail plug. Now, as with any fabrication project that I start to build, I always like to get myself a piece of cardboard and make a template so I can figure out design. Now, I quickly found out that this really does not have to be too complicated to protect this T-case. So I have a good platform right here with my cross member, and so I just made this piece of cardboard, and I think I'm just going to run it right across the backside of the cross member. But I can't go all the way across, just straight across, because this is where I have all my link mounts. So I think what I'm going to do is I notched out this just a little bit here to clear the cross member, and I think it's just going to have to bend up slightly and then make another bend right here, and I can actually mount it now also to the uniframe channel. So I think this can be a pretty easy and basic design. So I'm going to go transfer this template onto a piece of metal. I'm going to try to do it all in one piece and see if I can make these bends on my own. If not, I can cut these two pieces out separately and weld them all together. But let's get this thing out on some metal and cut her out. So I got my template all traced out onto my steel. Now I'm using 3/16 plate. I noticed a lot of aftermarket companies use this size, and I think it's a great compromise between strength and workability. And because I think this thing is so small and compact that I don't need something like 1/4 inch, so hopefully this should be strong enough. So now that I got it drawn out, let's get her cut out. Alrighty, I got my piece cut out and I made some bends here and here, and all I did was simply just score the metal with my angle grinder, and I didn't cut it all the way out. And then you can kind of manipulate it and bend it just in your vise to get it to fit right, and I got it close to where it needs to be. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more fitment check, but that's pretty much gonna be the basic design of it. Pretty simple, but should be pretty stout. So now I got to figure out how I'm gonna mount this thing. All right, I got my transfer case skid now mocked into place and hand tightened in. As far as fastening it, I made those 1/4 inch tabs. I made 3 of those, and I just simply tack welded them here to the cross member, and I'm mounting it to the cross member that way. And then as far as the frame side, all I did was I drilled a hole up through the frame stiffener and the uniframe channel, and then I took a nut and a washer and I welded the nut to the washer, and then stuck the entire fastener up through and welded the washer to the bottom of the uniframe channel, and I can mount it that way. And so this thing's really firm on here already, and everything's just only tack welded into place, so I'm pretty happy with it. And I could take this thing off, clean it up, and call it good, but now that I'm looking at it, I feel like it's missing something. This whole area right in here, you know, the whole point of this is to protect the transfer case, and I think with it just ending right here, that this whole area still could be exposed, and plus it just doesn't look good. So plans change when you design things, so I made another little cardboard template, and what I'm thinking about doing is something like this. So essentially, I took a bucket and just traced out kind of like a half circle so that I'll have clearance there for the output shaft. I mean, it's not going to hit it, should have plenty of clearance, but I'm thinking something like this will close off the transfer case skid nice and good, and so that when rocks come up, it'll help deflect it this way, and so I'm not going to hit anything up on the transfer case. So I think I'm going to cut this out of steel and mock it up and tack it into place as well before I pull this thing off and do the final weld. Now that looks better. That's going to be way better and add a lot more protection. So really now all I got to do is I'm going to have to drop the whole cross member so I can finish welding those tabs. I'm going to finish welding this, finish welding those relief cuts that I made here to make the bends, and I should be able to get this thing all painted up and reinstalled for good. Well, I got my transfer case skid plate all welded up, everything looks good. I painted it last night, and I had fully intended to come in here this morning and install this thing and button up this project, but that was until I got something in the mail today. So I recently picked up this 20-ton shop press behind me here. Believe it or not, I got it at a garage sale for a killer deal, and it was actually really cheap, and so I had to try something, and perhaps Nate over there at Dirt Lifestyle is rubbing off on me or perhaps inspiring me, but what am I going to use in this press? Well, I went and bought a small set, and I think they're actually kind of cheap ones, but I went and bought a small set of dimple dies, and I just have to try them out on this project. It's terrible timing. I mean, I'm going to have to repaint it after this. All the bends are already made, which means I'm going to have to get kind of creative to fit it, you know, into my drill press and the shop press to make sure I get all these holes and stuff lined up perfectly. But I have to try it because it's new tools, so I got to try it. And honestly, there's a benefit to this as well, because not only do these dimple dies look awesome, but they actually do add rigidity to the sheet metal, and so it's going to make this thing a little bit stronger. And so really all I got to do is drill out with the appropriate size hole saw, and then take my dimple die over there to the shop press, and I can make awesomeness happen. So I guess this is the last step before I get to installing this thing for good. That looks pretty awesome. Well, everyone, I got my skid plate all completed, painted, and installed, and man, does it look good. Now, it runs completely flush with the cross member, so I'm not losing any ground clearance, and it doesn't stick out very far, so I do not think it's going to get caught up on a bunch of obstacles. Really happy that I went ahead and did the dimple dies. I had to get super creative with fitting them in the drill press and the shot press because the project was, you know, too far along to normally do dimple dies, but I'm glad I tried it. I like the tool. I'm gonna use it in a lot of future projects, and it looks good, and hopefully it's gonna add a little bit of that strength. And I tell you, this thing actually is very stout. You can actually jack up the entire Jeep just on the skid plate, so I know this thing is gonna be strong out there on the rocks. So if you like this project and you want to see more like it, make sure you click the like button and subscribe to our channel if you have not already. If you're really a fan of Muddy Beards 4x4, go ahead and check out the link to our website down below, and we got some coupon offers there, which includes a 10% discount at Barnes 4-Wheel Drive. So if you need any builder parts, go check that out. You can also check out our Amazon store or even our merch store, all of which helps our channel. And until next time, we'll see you on the trail.